Uh, Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. I know it sounds like oxymoron almost, to be happy when trouble comes, your way. But if we look at the reality of, when something big occurs in our life, uh, that's a chance for us to grow. It's a chance for us to, change our whatever bad patterns we have or behavior. It's almost like God's given us a chance to, uh, change into the character that He's trying to develop us in. At the time we most likely don't see it, but that brings me back to, when I want to say about 3 years ago, I had my son. I get him every weekend, and I was going to work one day, or I had work on Monday, and I got him on the weekend, and I was trying to, contact his mom to meet up and drop him back off to his mom's house, and she just wasn't answering her phone, and I was kind of freaking out because I had a business at the time, I had contracts I had to do, and calling her. Monday rolls by, still no answer. Tuesday rolls by, no answer, and I think it was up in maybe Thursday that following week. She finally called me and said she was, in detox and just had some things that she had to handle personally, and at that time, diapers got involved, and she was just dealing with some issues that she had to deal with, and so I ended up getting my son, and I didn't know it at the time, but a year and a half later, I had him by myself. She was trying to do well, and she was doing the best she could, and I wasn't really used to taking care of him full time, and my daughter as well. I just all I knew was work, and that was no excuse, but that's just what I did. So I wasn't able to work, and I found it very hard to adjust and adapt to. He was 6 years old at the time, but I found it really hard to adapt and deal with his school and contact his school and try and transfer him from his old school to where I was living at the time, because we lived totally opposite places, and it was a struggle. It was a mental struggle, and I don't want to say trouble, but it was very, very difficult to adapt to that. To not being able to work and figuring things out, like, at the snap of a finger. There was no warning, there was no heads up, and that's usually how things come to our way. I mean, when troubles come, there's no warning. There might be some small things here and there, but we're really not paying attention when we're in our mess. We're always trying to find the next score, or just trying to make some money here and there, and just whatever it is. We're just not really paying attention. We got our focus on what we want to do at the time, and we don't really focus on the outside too much. Uh, but in that time, when I had my son, it was, he was, being very, what do you call it? He was just misbehaving a lot at school, and trying to get attention, it might have been just maybe because he missed his mom, but it was. I remember one week I was getting a call from his school every single day. I mean, it's funny now, kind of, but he just being a kid, I guess, and here I was getting angry at him, and but it took me, I'm getting to the point, so just try to bear with me, please. It took me a year and a half. I feel like God put me through the ringer a little bit, and there'd be nights where I just got so depressed, and wanted to give up, and I've given up a bunch of times, and just lazy, laying around, not trying to find work, even when I had a couple, some time to do it, because he did go to school, you know, and it's finally towards the end, it got much easier. Just in the beginning, I didn't know what to do, and I freaked out, and I feel like we can use that, the same thing kind of happened when I got FM here. It was the same thing, just something new, something I didn't know, and there's things that we don't really realize we need to learn in that moment, for that a lot of time that God gives us, until we get it. And if I wasn't going to learn what He wanted me to learn in the FM position, there would have been something else that He would have, that door will not close until God, people might change, whatever it's got to be, but God's going to make sure you learn a lesson regardless of, no matter how many times you try and hide from it. I just learned that. It's just, you could hide from a situation or be afraid of something and ignore that one, but God's going to bring it back to you through somebody else or through another situation, because that's what it's his calling for us, and we can't hide from that. And we just got to understand that he'll be with us that entire time, that we're not alone, and, he's going to bring us to whatever he brings us to, he will bring us through it. And so anyway, so at the end of, the time that I had my son, it was, I started to realize, like, I didn't really, this ego I had in me, this pride I had in me, blaming others and just complaining and all that. I just noticed it just wasn't there anymore, and I just, just one day I woke up and I just, I don't know what it was. I don't know. I just, over time, it's just being in my own mess, having to deal with myself, because like I said, I couldn't work. I couldn't really go out and hang out with my friends. I couldn't do really much, but pretty much take care of my son. And, just doing that alone, forced me to feel my feelings. It forced me to, be a parent, the responsible one. And sometimes I failed, sometimes I didn't, but again, that's how we grow and learn. But yeah, at the end of it, I just realized, like, I'm not, all these things that I had in me, all these bad character traits and virtues and everything like that, I just, it went away. And, there's something, taking that situation and moving forward, now I can use what I learned from that situation and, apply it to other situations. Now, sometimes we fall short and, it's not always as smooth as, that I definitely did not think that way in the beginning. But just like anything else, the more we do something, like egos, the more, the more we'll get used to it and train ourselves. And all right, let's go to this book finally. All right. All right. All right. So when trouble of any kind comes your way, which it will, there's no getting around trouble. God, I believe, is allowing certain things and obstacles to happen in our lives. We can't really know the strength of our character and beliefs until we see how we react under pressure and being uncomfortable in uncomfortable situations for our life. I know for me that I was more dependent on a substance to wake me up in the morning, help me work harder and earn the money I was making, and to do pretty much whatever I wanted to do. And I became dependent on a substance and not relying on God for my needs. The less I did, the more substances I took. And because I wasn't confident enough in myself and my decision making, I made bad decisions. And I feel like when we put something ahead of God, whatever it is, we're prolonging our learning experience. We're prolonging what he has for us. And we just got to understand that, no matter what, we're going to go through hardships. We're going to go through pain. I think I used just to not feel, what I was feeling, the embarrassment, the shame, the regret. I used a lot just for that purpose, to be honest. Just to hide, and any responsibility I had, I tried to find a way out of it. I mean, if I just devoted 1% of the way I was before, trying to get out of my responsibilities to taking care of my responsibilities, I mean, it would be the total opposite. I feel like if we can do whatever we want or do whatever we can, scheme and lie and manipulate people into getting things that we want for bad, then I believe that we could do that for the good as well. I think it could be, said both ways, but except this time through Christ and, with a better outcome. But I don't think there's any excuse that we have When it comes to doing the right thing, taking care of our responsibilities, sharing the word, helping our brothers and sisters out wherever we can. I think it's important that we focus on, not so much what we were, but what we're becoming. I know for the longer you're here, the longer you're here, the less the outside world has an effect on you, and the less at least that was for me. But I feel like that's just standard. The less you'll forget the person you were, and you're gonna see the person you're becoming, and the person you will become. And I just think we need to give it a little more effort and try and be a little easy on ourselves. And if we could do like I said, if we could do all that stuff to ourselves for bad, then I don't see any reason why we can't do anything for the good. All right, let's see. So in my study Bible, it says, below the notes in this, it says we should not pretend to be happy when we face pain, and we can have a positive outlook, consider it an opportunity for great joy, because troubles can strengthen and develop our character. And to further on that, sometimes it's like a fake it till you make it type thing here, and that's good for so long, but if we aren't like honest with ourselves and others, we won't have any chance to grow, because we're pretending to be this person that we're not. And it's okay to have the feelings that you have. I would encourage just to be honest with ourselves and others of who we were and who we're becoming. And I know for myself, I try and lie and manipulate and pretend to be somebody with everyone, different person, just different friends. I was pretending to be this person, just to get what I wanted. And, that part of us is over with. That life that we were living is far gone, far gone. We don't need to do that anymore. And it's small compromises like that lead us back to where we were, and I think it's important that we just, I've been saying to myself every day, just do the right thing every day. Do the right thing every morning. I just ask God to give me the strength to do the right thing every single morning and make the right decisions. And that's hard, we all, we're human. But I think this program is meant to strengthen our character, our faith, our endurance. I just want the best, I just encourage everybody to take this program serious. And, if you see everybody around you, who are older in the program and they've been here a while, there's a certain joy that they have and peace. And, when I first got here, that's what I wanted. I wanted as much peace and joy as I could get, it's hard to really see people, in a better position. But it's also a good thing too, because it gives you hope that, hey man, if I stick it out this long and I do the right things and I pray to God and I ask Him to continue to guide my steps into where that's led them, I know for a fact that He's going to bring me to that, point. And then I will be the next person to, help and guide, and, people will be looking up to me. And, this is a whole process here. And that's why I like about this program is it just takes you to, it's just we're dependent on others to keep this place going, and God, obviously, and to me that's just it's why this place has lasted so long. It's just God is a way of working through us and bringing us to when one of us lacks, the other one makes up for it. And I just just happy to be here, and I'm glad to see all the new people here, and everyone's doing really good, and yeah. So. All right. So, dear brothers and sisters, when troubles come of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So when you're facing troubles and you overcome your troubles, that gives you a chance. That's your faith being tested. Will you stay calm? Will you trust that God has everything laid out for you, and He's guiding your steps? He's already planned your steps. All you need to do is just have faith that you're going to get through it, so He can turn you into the complete and perfect person that He needs you to be. That one's a hard one for me. I know not every time, we want to kind of manipulate our own, not manipulate, but we want to kind of plan out and, we have all these ideas on what we're going to be and what we're going to do when we get out of here, or during here, or, 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And, it's good to have a goal, and it's good to have, want achievements and everything like that. But, you have no idea who God's trying to make you while you're in here, and all the plans He has set up on, behind closed doors. And, I know I've, for one, have been, thinking about this and thinking about that. And, if that doesn't come to, if what you want doesn't happen, you're more likely to be upset and, kind of let down. You don't want to let yourself down. I know it's best to just allow God to work through you. Pray to Him. I always pray to Him. I haven't prayed to Him much about where I want to go, but I think it's best that we just focus on who we are here right now in this moment, and try and just move forward, and just learn from one another. And that's all I got.